Dr. Stephen Daniel, the co-founder of QuantumTechniques.com, the most powerful diagnostic, precise form of energy medicine practice in the world today. And I'm coming to you from Maui, Hawaii. We work over the phone with people all over the world every day. I want to share a very underdiagnosed and misunderstood area that traditional medicine misses very frequently, and that is the issue of parathyroid disease. There is a great website, parathyroid.com, run by the Norman Parathyroid Center in Tampa, Florida, probably the premier clinic in the world in treating this. And I want to read the symptoms of parathyroid disease, because this is something I've struggled with for 5 or 6 years, and just recently understood this and have made a huge difference. And we're going to talk about that in a second YouTube video talking about parathyroid disease in functional medicine. But the symptoms of parathyroid disease, chronic fatigue being the most common. Some days are better than others, but taking naps doesn't affect it. Brain fog, poor memory, concentration, insomnia, personality changes, moodiness, irritability, loss of interest in hobbies, anxiety, depression, body aches, bone pain. And then in terms of physical issues, osteoporosis, kidney stones, gastrointestinal symptoms, high blood pressure, heart palpitation, atrial fib, heart disease, kidney failure, and strokes. Well, that's at least 90% of my clients suffer from some of those. So how did I get turned on to this? I'd been feeling a lot of these symptoms. I had kidney stones, which we treat very effectively, hypertension, which I've done a lot of work on with our work, but I didn't respond to medications well. I didn't have the osteoporosis, but I had the other symptoms. And I kept struggling, and I would go every year to my alternative doc, and we do all these blood studies, and he would say, well, everything's fine. You're very healthy. The last time I went to him, we ran the blood studies, and the abnormality was I had a single blood study where my calcium was high. Now, you diagnose parathyroid disease if your calcium's high even one time. That's very abnormal. Now, your calcium levels can come and go. Now, the second thing they test for is your parathyroid hormone. Well, you can have parathyroid disease with, and if you have high calcium and high parathyroid hormone, it's pretty much a slam dunk. But 20% of the people that they do surgery on at this clinic had high calcium, completely normal, or even low parathyroid. Okay. So they look at calcium levels, parathyroid, and they look at vitamin D3 levels. That's how they make the clinical diagnosis. Well, when I found that out, and my physician said, I think you're fine, I started searching, started studying, found this website. Okay, read all about it, realized, since I understand functional medicine, is you have 4 small parathyroid glands, okay? They're about the size of a grain of rice. And parathyroid disease is rarely accurately diagnosed. That's what you need to understand. But we also know that in traditional medicine, until you get a 40% to 70% tissue damage, the medical studies don't show anything. Well, you don't develop a parathyroid tumor, and they're very rarely cancerous overnight. It takes years to develop. So that means somebody's suffering like I was for many years before it reaches a threshold where traditional medicine knows to operate. So I did a consult, and they said, well, you know, your parathyroid's normal, but your calcium's high. Let's wait a month and do another blood study looking at your vitamin D3, your calcium, your parathyroid, and then a week later do the same study. Well, I met one that sits on my loins very well, and traditional medicine has never done a great job of helping me with anything. That's why I was given this work to do. So I did what I do in quantum techniques. I tested each parathyroid gland, 2 of them were only scoring a 2 of 10 of healthiness. So I did what we do. I reconnected those with a healing intelligence, and I found out, why could it not heal? And like everything that's chronic, especially when you have chronic viral issues, it was a combination of pathogens and toxins. Well, when we moved to Hawaii a few years back, we put in a whole house water filter, and we didn't realize that it wasn't catching all of the man-made poisons in the water system. My wife developed really high DHEA, which led to some vascular issues. My testosterone was 17 times above normal. We didn't know to go look at this issue because we weren't symptomatic then. Well, it was the poisons from the water plus hidden pathogens. I started working on that. And like everything else that comes to you, if you just try to understand it, I was given from the divine a couple of new scans. Those new scans, before I got my tests back, okay, my second test a month and 5 weeks later, those tests in my testing, and I had other practitioners confirm this, I have raised the level of my parathyroids to a 9 of 10. Now, during that 5 weeks, my energy on a scale of 1 to 10 went from a 1 in the mornings, because I was waking up exhausted. I had to take a couple of naps during the day and had no energy, and I would completely crash by 7 in the evening. By the time I got the blood studies back, they were all normal, but my energy was 9 times better than it had been for 5 years. So that's an example of how energy work can get in, make a difference in something, because the body was made to heal itself. We shouldn't have to get surgery for everything, especially if you catch it early. So if you have any of those symptoms, educate yourself. They have a great clinic there. When I watch the video, they actually show a video of a surgery, and they pull out the parathyroid. They'll take a sample of your parathyroids while they're in your neck. It's a little outpatient surgery. You don't even go under anesthesia, just sedation. And then they check them right there, each of the 4. And they'll take out the ones that are bad. As long as you have one left, you're okay. Well, that means I got a chance to look at the parathyroid tumor. So I could, anytime I see a picture, I can balance. I can say, does my parathyroid balance with a tumor like that? The body said yes. It doesn't anymore. So I want to tell you, this is very misdiagnosed by physicians. Okay, very common, and even endocrinologists often miss this. So be an advocate, educate yourself, and even if you don't have high calcium level, this is something we can energetically test for, and in most cases correct. And you know what, if I would have had a surgery 6 weeks ago, which would have been about $13,500, and I felt as good now, I would have thought the surgeon was God. So all I'm saying is, don't give up, even when you're struggling for a long time. There is an answer, it just comes from a higher place. Have a blessed day.